Jason with Chicago News, and this week we've got the brand new 2019 Lexus ES350. This is all new for 2019, built off of Toyota's new platform that's shared with the Avalon and the Camry, a couple other vehicles. Car companies always want to share platforms because it really helps them save money on the actual chassis part of the car, and they can put different body, different interior in the same car essentially. What Lexus has done here is created a Toyota Avalon that's a little nicer to own. This F-Sport version of the ES350 gives you more aggressive front fascia, and I'm not even going to talk about the grille. It's just a thing. Toyota and Lexus grills, it's a thing. I will talk about these headlights though. They're beautiful headlights in terms of how they work, but they're a little odd looking. You've got this weird triangle of body color in here, this little fork on the end of the light. Again, I think they're just trying too hard with the design. I would prefer if they had a little bit more restraint with this kind of design. So a ton of vehicles these days come with a foot operated trunk, but it often doesn't work quite right. Lexus nailed it here. Really quick flip of the foot, trunk automatically opens. But there's another thing that's great about this power trunk. You've got a button here to close it, but a lot of times with these power trunks, if you try to close it by hand, you're fighting against the motor. Here, closes perfectly easily. It's also got a button you can press and it'll power open. If you try to speed it up, it fights you, but who really needs to do that? Overall, everything about this trunk is easy to use. This thing definitely looks sporty, and Lexus gave it to us in this really cool blue color. Let's see if the performance backs up the looks. So we got our version of the test track, this on-ramp here. Let's see. We're in Sport Plus mode, and you can really feel some great acceleration here. You definitely can feel that it's front-wheel drive though. You felt a little bit of slip. Not much torque steer, but really good acceleration, fun to drive, especially for a front driver. This brand new ES shares a platform with a couple other Toyota vehicles. They've got some new global platforms. Essentially, this is kind of the Lexus version of the Avalon. Again, you're talking about a pretty big sedan for a front-wheel drive platform, but it pulls it off pretty well, and somehow it manages to feel a little bit more powerful than the Toyota versions. I guess the difference must be that extra 1 horsepower that they've rated this version of the same V6. 301 in the Camry, this one's rated at 302. Man, what a difference. Clipping along on the highway here, you can feel the lane assist taking over. All of the safety features on this are adjustable. You can change the sensitivity of the lane assist, the blind spot monitors, everything is adjustable, which is kind of nice. You can kind of tailor it the way that you like it. Lots and lots of tech inside this Lexus. You've got now a really nice looking large LCD up here. It's still not a touchscreen and you're still stuck with this trackpad, but it is a much nicer looking screen. I do have to say though, it's really disappointing in a luxury vehicle to see such a nice screen with, I'm not even exaggerating, 1980s era warning lights for the airbag right next to them. It's kind of unforgivable. You've got this beautiful display up here in the center, and it's just marred with these lights to tell you that the passenger airbag is on. Which again, why are they telling you that it's on? It should be on all the time. If there's gonna be a light, it should be when it's off. Also not a big fan of the clock being next to this screen. You've got the digital next to the analog. You know, the whole clock thing is kind of an ode to Mercedes anyway. It's usually in the center of the dash. To me, it would look a lot nicer if they changed this up and put it in the center between these vents. It's fine for me because I'm a little taller and sitting further back, but I could see if you were sitting closer, the steering wheel would probably block the clock anyway. Our favorite Lexus interior is in the LC500 Coupe. And what they've done is borrowed the center dash design, kind of put it into more and more of their vehicles, which I think is a good thing. It gives you these Frankenstein lever controls, which are kind of cool, but also it gives you that LCD center focus dash tack with an integrated speedometer. It changes with the mode, but also it'll actually slide out of the way when you pull up the settings. One thing I do find a little bit odd though is you've got all this focused in the center of this display. There's two really large areas next to it that could be LCD also. You know, again, it's full of these Toyota/Lexus warning bulbs, which, as you can hear in all of our Toyota reviews, is one of my pet peeves. You know, it's such a beautiful display in the center. Why not extend that out side to side? The heating and air conditioning controls are definitely an improvement over previous ES. You've got these kind of cool rocker switches here for the temperature. The buttons look a little bit nicer. You know, everything's a little bit simplified. You've got this funky triangular shape in here, which doesn't necessarily go with anything else in the interior, but it is pretty cool. Some of the materials are cool here as well. You've got this aluminum trim that's in the F Sport, which I kind of prefer to the wood in the luxury models. You've got controls here for the heated and cooled seats and the heated steering wheel. You know, lots of individual buttons, and they're kind of a little bit hard to reach with the shifter here, but you know, they all have an auto mode, which is pretty cool. You know, having it set in the auto mode, it'll tailor it to whatever temperature the HVAC is set to. So, you know, that makes these buttons a little less necessary so they can be out of the way. Overall, we definitely dig the interior. Very comfortable seats, nice, fat, leather-wrapped steering wheel. You've got great thumb grips, very easy to reach shifter paddles here. Overall, ergonomically, this is better than any previous generation of the ES. While some of the heating controls and the steering wheel controls are a little pared down, still way too many buttons on the steering wheel. The main interface is still this trackpad, which is just, I don't know. Listen, Lexus, I know that you probably spent a lot of money developing this system and you got to get your money's worth by using it for some years, but I really hope you guys are working on something different, because this is just overly sensitive. It's either gonna click, double click, it's gonna go to the wrong thing, make sounds like a slot machine. I mean, just, it doesn't fit with the luxury and the technology. You know, in a luxury vehicle like this, which is all about refinement, having such a clunky interface system is a real letdown.
I want you to promise me you won't watch that channel ever again.
Okay.
Promise me.
I promise I will never watch that channel again.
We're really excited that Lexus gave us this cool phone pocket, and my phone works just fine because I have no case, but some of the cases make your phone a little bit wider, when a couple that we've tried have essentially yanked this piece out when you pull your phone out. So, you know, it again is a good idea, but it could be executed a little bit better. With this being essentially the same car as the Toyota Avalon, you kind of have to ask yourself, what are you getting and what is the price difference? You know, this ES350 starts at just under $40,000. It's really only a few $1,000s more at each level than the Avalon is, but you can definitely option this one up much more than you could in Avalon. And this F Sport trim, it gets more aggressive bumpers and a more aggressive look. So essentially what you're getting with this Lexus over the Toyota is just a little bit more prestige, in this case a little sportier version. Ultimately, the real difference is this is built for Lexus fans. You know, Lexus buyers are definitely very loyal. This is probably going to sell quite a bit more units than the Avalon. Essentially, this is what people are going to choose. They want that Lexus badge. Usually Lexus gives us the Mark Levinson stereo in test vehicles. It's missing from this one, but the actual bass stereo sounds quite good. You know, it kind of makes you wonder if the $2,000 option to get the upgrade is worth it. You know, the Mark Levinson name is a powerhouse, but I've never been all that impressed with their systems, and the way this one sounds, I'd save your $2,000. As you'd expect in a sedan of this size, the rear seat is very comfortable. You got tons of legroom. The seats are at least heated. You lose the cooled and you don't have an auto option in the rear, but you can still warm your butt, which is nice. They've also created a little pocket for extra headroom right where the rear seat occupants are, so definitely a lot of thought's been put into making your passengers comfortable. If you're trying to decide between the Avalon and the ES350 and you happen to be a thermos owner, this cup holder might tip the scales for you. You've got this setting, you can put a coffee cup in here. It's not as deep, but then you can fold this out of the way. It makes it a nice deep holder for your thermos, and a little button will convert it right back. So there's the difference right there. The biggest question this new ES350 leaves us with is, why choose this over the Avalon? And I've got a couple of good reasons. First of all, looks. A few weird design touches notwithstanding, this is a beautiful sedan. The second is handling. You can't get an F-Sport version of the Toyota, and the sharper handling that you get with this stiffer suspension is definitely a lot more fun to drive. But the biggest reason is the luxury that you get. The materials on the inside are much nicer, and you get that Lexus badge in the front, which does carry a little weight with it. Overall, I think it's a really good value. If you're looking for a really big sedan and you don't mind if it's front-wheel drive, this ES350 is for you.